is the man of the hour here, Brad Weddington. Good morning, Brad. As we've said, every time we've had you on the show for months, you've always had perfect weather in the backyard.
Dude, I try to bring the sun. Yeah, I always tell people if it's gonna rain, it's because I'm taking my boat out. Okay, so I haven't been taking my boat out
I get
very
that.
very frequently this summer. So we've had some nice days.
So this man is Brad Weddington. He built my home, as I mentioned earlier. He built my mom's home. If you have any weather or questions about custom home building, that process, or anything about that, but also anything around the home, he knows a lot more than most of us do. Maybe if it's the basement to the roof, the walls, outside the walls, into the yard, drop a comment or question here for Brad, and he will answer it for you. Let me go ahead and bring up this picture here. Now that is a monster.
That's
We
a big
haven't
one.
we haven't showed off a lot of what you have built, but this is what is it, like 6,000 square foot?
You include the basement, it was actually a little bit larger than that. Unbelievable. And in the style, so for so many years we've seen a lot of the, I call it the modern farmhouse with the white hardy and the dark overhangs. People are going now towards darker hardy, lighter stone,
Yeah.
darker overhangs. It's all about the contrast of it. That's the big thing that we're seeing now.
So let's go through the history here. Like I feel like in the '90s, early 2000s, you had like the brick McMansion kind of thing in the neighborhoods, and then kind of switched to craftsman style. That's kind of what we have once we got into 2010s. And I feel like right after we built our house, maybe a few years after, started to see the farmhouse style. But now over the last couple of years, I feel like it's been that trend towards like the white black kind of look. Is
Yep,
that what
you're
you're
right.
seeing?
You're right. Like, when I first got in the industry, late 90s, early 2000s, you were still seeing a lot of the red brick, white windows, white overhang, traditional look. And then early 2000s, you kind of started seeing to where people were going with more of the natural colors. You had a little bit more of the brown bricks, tan windows, tan overhangs and gutters. Then you transitioned into, call it 2010 range. You started seeing more craftsman homes, then into the white and blacks, and then now we're into the darker colors. It's a cycle. It's pretty cool because you can just see how trends come and go. And who knows? One day we might circle back to red
Yeah.
brick and white windows. But that's just it's just the transition, the way the business goes, and the way people's tastes change. And that's definitely in a stately looking home.
Can you predict this in any possible way, or does the person, your client, are they seeing the trends and bringing them to you, or is it kind of a combination?
It's a combination of both. Now with the internet, people can look up trends all the time. So information just travels faster. It used to be, call it 20 years ago, I would tell people, hey, if you don't want your house to be outdated in 10 years, go out west to a large city and see what they're doing there, and then that's going to eventually be here in about 10 years. So it's just it's just phases and trends. They come and go. The style of the homes change, but my big thing is, the bones of the house never do. So
Yeah. Now, styles might change, but do you think there's going to be a trend? Because I think we all feel it, and this is not political at whatsoever. I don't care who's president. I don't anything like that. But prices are higher. There's been inflation over the last several years. I've seen some trends. I've been out camping where people are going towards uh, like campers that are on top of a truck bed, or smaller off-road kind of campers. Do you think that might be a trend where people start to build these, more efficient, smaller homes? Or I know you probably want these big old homes like we just showed to build, but what do you think might happen down the stretch here? If you're trying to forecast like I try to forecast, putting you on the spot.
definitely doing that. Uh, I mean, the truck bed campers, all of that, that's cool. I mean, it's cool for a temporary thing. Which you run into, especially in this area. You get closer to population centers like we are. We're in the Louisville metro area. Our counties around that have a little bit more rules and regulations because of that. So, I know in Clark County, the minimum square footage home that you can build is 800 square feet.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't realize that. So there is a minimum size that you can build.
Okay.
They're going to have to be on a foundation. There's certain restrictions, and they're there for your safety. They are. They're there for the longevity of the home. Temporary things like campers and stuff like that. I've looked into those, but more for, hey, let's throw a
Have some fun.
truck bed
Yeah.
camper in the bed of my truck and let's go out west and have fun. But as far as living, it, and I hate it. I remember when prices went up in 2020 with the lumber and everything, and that was really the first big push we had on pricing. And I'll never
Yeah.
forget, I went to a homeowner and I had the pricing together and I presented it to him and I looked at him and I flat out told him, I was like, hey, I'm embarrassed about this number because everything had went up so drastically and the numbers just were where they were at. And luckily some people have adjusted to those. But when the price of materials went up, it's just like almost just like taxes. Once you get a tax, it's hard to get that tax to go away.
Right.
I mean, I remember back in '08 when fuel prices went up astronomically and I started getting fuel surcharges on invoices. Okay, that was '08. Guess what? I still get on invoices, fuel surcharges. So, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that have come and that haven't gone away. Um, One of the biggest things for us as a country is just we've gotten so used to lower interest rates. I mean, we've all become victims of that, to where we
Hmm.
got used to, sub 3% interest rates. And when those went away, people had a hard time. And I understand that because they're hovering right at close to 7% right now. So that's one of the biggest drivers on the market is going to be your interest rates because, let's just face it, people want to see what their monthly outflow is going to be. And that's what it comes down to.
And it's just a reality. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think our first house is like 6 or 7%, and then we got lucky. We've talked about that before, where it was down to like less than 3% locked in there, and you just can't get rid of a rate like that. And so I feel for folks that are wanting to build or buy a house in a market where it goes up like this. But um, now looking ahead here as well, we have this little autumn tease that we have with this nice cool air. We start to think about the fall season. Anything that we should be prepping for, like my wife and I were talking about, as your house gets older, we're now over a decade into our house, might just buy some like weather stripping or whatever for around the doors if you see a little daylight or whatever. So maybe just some prep stuff.
Yeah, yep. Those weather stripping, that's a cheap fix, real cheap fix. I mean, you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and they'll have tubes with that weather stripping stuff down in it, and you just grab a couple pieces. I think they're $4 or $5 a pop, and each door is going to take two and a half of those pieces. So you're less than $15 in resealing a door. That's a cheap, easy way to save energy. Um, it's easy to help combat what we're getting ready to combat too, Ben. And you have a lot of history with this, and that's those lovely orange ladybugs.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about.
I mean yeah, that triggers me because I mean where we live, we get a swarm every year. But I did find that if you get that Ortho Max or whatever, that bug spray and hit the outside walls, it does help a little bit. But depending on where you live, those and the stink bugs, they come in an army, and
They
right around
do.
Halloween.
And they sneak in, and it's like I've had homeowners call me and go, "I've got there's something leaking big on my house because I've got these bugs everywhere." And I'm like, "It doesn't matter how good your
Yeah,
house is sealed; those things will get in. I mean, they're trying to find somewhere warm for the winter to post up, and they'll crawl their way through every little nook and cranny to try to get their way into your house, and it's beyond frustrating."
it is, and there isn't a lot you can do about that, as I've found out here over the years. But anything else as far as winter HVAC or anything else you can think about? Driveway
Always
cracks.
make sure, if your AC has struggled a little bit through this summer, maybe it's a good time to have a checkup, before we go into the winter to make sure that all systems are go for when we go into the winter. For those of us that live in rural areas like me, I've got a propane tank that runs my furnace in the winter. I'm going to check it, make sure I'm at least, least 70% fuel on that tank. You know, the max that we can do is 80%, but I'm going to
Yeah,
check that. And something that people don't think about a lot is if you've got some spots in your yard that are bare because of the heat and just weed growth
I
and
do.
items
Yeah,
like that, we're going into one of the most perfect seasons for seeding your yard to get that good germination for spring. So that's, you know, a
yeah,
lot of people think about springtime, planting grass, getting it growing, but one of the best times to really prep your yard is going to be over the next month and a half or 2 months. Really getting some nutrients to that grass and helping that root system through the winter.
yeah. So you remind me about two things. My propane tank's down to like 20%, so I'm gonna have to figure that get that thing filled up for the wintertime. Hopefully, the propane prices will go down, and then also next week, I talked to a golf course superintendent because his job is to grow grass. And when it was hot last week, I asked, should I be doing that summer, weed and feed? He said, just wait because the grass can't take much more right now. And really, I'm feeding the weeds at this point.
Yep.
But next week, when we get some rain chances coming before the rain hits, you mow the yard. It might be a good time to put down some of that weed and feeding and fertilizing, and then setting up your lawn for in good shape for the fall season. Now, looking here at this picture, let me bring it back here. Look at this stud muffin next to the Arca car right here. So tell me what you've gotten into here over the last, I don't know, few years or so.
I've just got involved in a little bit of racing with, that's Will Kimmel. That's Kimmel Racing out of Clarksville, Indiana, local hometown team. Um, we race against the big boys a couple times a year, and one of the times that we're going to do it is it's coming up September 20th, Salem Motor Speedway in Salem, Indiana. Guys, it's a good time. It's a little half-mile track. We'll have some nice cars there from all over the country. It's ARCA's a nationwide series, so you'll see the up and coming drivers, and it's a good family time to go and with the kids and have some excitement. And
Do you know what
it's
that race
fairly
is
reasonably
called?
priced. Do what now?
You know what that race is called?
I think it's the Kentuckiana Ford Dealers 200, I believe is
Okay.
what it is. Um,
So, and you can I think you can camp out there too, right?
you can, yeah. They have campgrounds there. A lot of people camp out for the entire weekend. As we get closer to the event on the Wednesday prior to it, I'll let you know, because typically we have that car based at the Menards in Clarksville the Friday before the race for a meet and greet for the drivers. So once
Oh,
we get
cool.
closer to that, I'll get you the exact time and location. So anybody that tunes in can stop by and meet Will, check out the car, and hopefully I can talk Ben into hanging out there for, an hour or
Yeah,
so, and maybe you'll
I'd
be able to
like to
see
for
Ben.
sure. Yep, that would be nice. So keep reminding me on that, and check it out there at Menards. When was that Menards you said, possibly?
Well, the race is the 20th, so if I was a betting man, I'd say it's probably the 19th that it's going to be at
So right
Menards.
before it.
But as it gets closer, because Menards sponsors the series, it's the Menards
Yeah.
ARCA Racing Series, and anytime a race is close by, they're going to have a local driver at a local store, and it's just really neat. People come out and meet him, and we go up there, and like I said, we race against the big boys. And last year we finished fourth, not too bad. I think we
Not too
fielded
shabby.
27, 28 cars, finished fourth. So.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I've never been. I've golfed right by the Salem Speedway before, but so we'll check that out. Thank you so much, Brad, and we always find a lot to talk about. So we'll see you next week as well. As I know I think you're closing up on a new home build pretty
Oh
soon.
yeah. We got one they're moving into end of next week. Beautiful home, and I think you might even be on site for that next week. So.
We're going to definitely try to work that out. So, all right, enjoy that weather out there, buddy. We'll see you later. Thanks.
Yep, keep more of it coming.
All right, we'll do. See ya.